You in this room, you probably know all about the different cycles and the ages, the Golden Age and the Iron Age and the Bronze Age and all the different cycles we go through. We're going from a Golden Age and we're going all the way through, right through to a Golden Age again. I think this is when, at the end of 2012 represents the end of the timeline where we are in this linear modality. And I think what the idea of 2012 is about is when we leave behind just linear living and the veils start to get thin again, and more people start to pass through the veils and have multi-dimensional consciousness. So we came from the age of the gods, where the gods were visible to us, that all these beings are still there. And more people are having angelic experiences, they're channeling, they're doing all these things, they're having visions. And where has that gone? Well, they've not gone, it's just that we've moved away from it. The dimensions have separated, and what we're headed towards is where time is no longer so linear, and it becomes more of a multi-dimensional space that we are in. So the very fabric of space-time, I think, is changing. And so that's what I think 2012 is representing, and I've had a few visions as well to do that, which we might get into later, but sorry, that was a very long thesis, but
wow. Okay. So maybe there's an invitation to be a multi-dimensional being, either before 2012 or the end of 2012 or after. So we might have to go screaming, or we might actually listen to the call first. So a round of applause as well. I'm sure there could be rabid questions coming on from everybody on the panel itself. But has anybody got any questions? I can't believe we can have a whole room of people studying in a group without having some exciting questions. So who's going to go first? But who wants to go second? That's probably the better question.
I'd like to ask if either of you has changed your view or learnt anything from each other on the panel, and collectively as a group, as we're going to be heading into working in groups, how you might bring together all of your various theories.
I think the individual nature of human beings is its pure gold. The fact that we're all individual, all different, all bring something different to the mix. I think that is what life is about. If you look around you, there's a multiplicity of everything, not just one star, not just one grain of sand. Everything possible that can be produced, created, is being created. I think human beings are absolutely unique, each one and every one, and therefore I think we should celebrate that uniqueness.
Take it a little bit further, and we've been talking here about the importance of quantum physics. We should remember that we use in the Theosophical Society the Hermetic axiom, as above, so below. And why we're saying that there are important pointers coming through science to the higher worlds is we're turning that axiom on its head and saying, as below, so above. This idea that the corollary must work. And to answer your point, we're constantly being modified and modifying everybody else's wavicular energies. Because if you start to take the quantum physics argument further and you say we are particular in a physical body, but we're wavicular at the emotional level, we're wavicular at the mental level, lower and higher, and at the spiritual level. And when we have a group like this, first of all there is the interference of waves at these different levels, and that can sort of mean that we can, they might have an idea there, or if we take it away, there is the sustained and intense interaction of interference, which is what the scientists call entanglement, and we become entangled with a person or a concept or an idea. And whether we know this is happening consciously or not, I don't think matters. I think it is happening all the time. So we come into an environment like this and we are changed when we go out, whether we realise that or not. And I think that's one of the beauties of evolution, and that we find ourselves, if we try and sort of put ourselves at the position, a very different person. If you keep a spiritual diary like I do, you've got a very valuable chronology of your consciousness, and you can look back a year ago and say, did I really think that? And that's a measure of how you've changed. And I think it's those interactions that you're referring to is how we do that. That's the methodology of that change.
I was very happy to hear you say about
time and endorse my own feelings. I think this year, more than any other year, our notion of time has to change. We're addicted to linear time, and this affects everything. It affects healing, it affects physics and quantum physics particularly, and astronomy and astrology. We tend to interpret everything in terms of linear time, and until we can escape that prison of thinking, of mentation, we're not really going to move very far. Linear time will take us round in circles in the end, and we really need to get out of it somehow.
But Brian, how does that affect the everyday living? I'm not going to bother about time. And I'm
Well, quite a lot, really, because I mean, I find myself at times pressured by living, especially around about Christmas, make myself ill with it, and because I'm addicted to linear time at Christmas. Well, I also, there's something very beautiful going on as well, which I'm trying to focus on, but getting everything done for, on this timeline seems to take over. And one has to be, you can do both simultaneously. You can be in time and out of it. Now, if you're out of time, as well as being in time, your in-time behavior is enhanced enormously, because you have a sense of eternity, a sense of there's time, a sense of amplitude, a sense of vision, and the way you treat your time, in linear time, affects the way you're able to be out of time. They're mutually enhancing. It's a two-way movement. We need both. We need both, but at this time we need no time. We need out of time. We need all time. Yes.
Sorry, can I just before you answer that, Teresa, Manchester, do you have something you wanted to answer to that question?
Yeah, I'm very grateful to the panelists, because I've been wondering about this idea of the Pisces and Aquarian age, and whether or not that is happening or not. So you seem to be emphasising that because people have been arguing about it. So to get that input is really valuable. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Teresa.
I was just going to say, would you say that is to be in the world but not of the world?
Yeah.
To have a balance of doing an everyday life,
Yeah.
but stepping out into being, when times when we lose our individuality and we merge with something that is far greater, a unity or awareness that we are all one.
Yeah.
And we come to see that time is an illusion.
Yeah.
And that really, for me, 2012 is about stepping into who I truly am, to be in the world but not of it, and to walk in both.
Yeah. If we're only in the world, we're trying to make it all happen in the world, aren't we? All the things we're short of, we're missing out on, that we feel we've not had and we have a right to. We're trying to get them all somehow and line them all up in linear time. Whereas once we're out of time, we realise it's all there. Everything is there. And I'm interested in it because I've been looking at the letters of St. Paul, do you know, in the Christian New Testament, and how preoccupied he was with the imminent return of Christ and the end time, the judgment day and everything. And he was actually encouraging people not to bother getting married. Don't bother with sex, don't bother with marriage. If you're married already, well, that's all right. But it's better not to bother with any of this, because Christ is going to return any minute now, and everything is, you know, we had a card in our kitchen, Jesus is coming, look busy. And we lost it in the move, unfortunately.
Can I come in here? The lovely lady mentioned Peter Russell, and I saw a talk of his, and one thing I took from that talk was he was talking about light, the speed of light, and how it can be looked at and subdivided. And then he switched to say, and when we look at light from the viewpoint of light itself, it is emitted and it is absorbed in no time at all, because the speed of light is not known to light itself. And consciousness and light are the same sort of thing. So light doesn't know speed, it doesn't know mass, and it doesn't know time. And consciousness doesn't know speed, it doesn't know matter as such, and the same way. Yeah? And that understanding, that paradigm shift that I've mentioned to you, is something that's starting to blossom.
Absolutely, that's really lovely, well put. And if you take the idea of the black holes that I was talking about, it is the as below, so above, because it's a fractal black hole theory that everything, everywhere, at every level, from your atom to your chakra, to the sun, to the earth, to all the Bermuda Triangle, all these sorts of things are actually created black holes at the poles of the planet. It's all going through the same principle as something out at the centre of a galaxy. And what that principle is the light of consciousness. The infinite light of consciousness is expressing itself at different levels. And I say moves as a spiral, but as you say, light doesn't really move, because it has no space and time. And what it does when it gets to the edge of the speed of light, which is what I'm renaming the perception horizon, is it splits, and our telescopes pick up that split. And what we see in our telescopes coming out of black holes are electrons at the speed of light. And all the astronomers are thinking, what's going on? Where's it coming from? And where it's coming from is the infinite light that's beyond our normal perception. 99% of the universe is unknown to us. The cosmologists call it dark energy and dark matter. It's not. It's the light that's beyond this level. And because this level is all we measure, the scientists say that's all there is to the world. There's many different levels of consciousness. And what we have below the speed of light is this situation where the polarity split, the photon becomes the electron and the positron. And the electron and the positron are the ones that have space and time, mass, charge, all of those things that we associate with our lives.
Our material world.
Yeah, the material world. The photon doesn't. So we keep talking about the speed of light, but as you say, how does light go at the speed of light? So now we're realising that there is beyond that, and CERN has found those aspects in neutrinos that are going faster than light recently. There's much more than that. It's the light of consciousness, as you say, and that has no bounds. And we at every single level in this fractal universe are manifesting from the infinite spiral, and we come to the edge. Even our chakras are doing it. Our chakras, what are they? Spinning vortices. The light from infinity comes to the edge of our reality in our chakras and splits and forms the matter and the antimatter, and the matter forms our bodies, and the antimatter forms what I see are unconscious emotions. And it's by the sort of work that Olivia is doing, where you actually bring the polarities of the emotions together, that you continuously move that back into light. So by emotional resolution, you actually bring the matter and the antimatter together of your body and your antimatter